Welcome to the Hidden Figures podcast by Oyin Adebayo.
Today, I am honored and beyond honored to be with the amazing Noel, who is the Chief Brand Officer of GymShark. And I don't have to introduce him because I think he can introduce himself. So, Noel, please introduce yourself to our listeners and our audience, please.
Oyin, thank you very much, man. Listen, the privilege is all mine. We were talking just beforehand about like what you're trying to achieve with this podcast, and I think it's really, really cool. Yeah, like Oyin said, my name's Noel Mack. I'm the Chief Brand Officer at GymShark. That basically means it's a fancy way of saying it's mine and my team's job to get people really excited about the brand, make sure our customers have an amazing experience when they interact with the brand, and generally grow the GymShark brand and, try and get it in front of some of you beautiful people. And you know what? Before we even talk anything disruptive, anything Black Girl Magic, any of the stuff that you talked about at the start, I want to thank you, Oyin, for the donation. So for those who don't know, the way this came about, at GymShark, we work really, really closely with the Birmingham Women and Children's Hospital. That's where we're from, in Birmingham, right? And I was there this weekend doing some Christmas stuff with them on a Saturday. It was eye opening, and Oyin and the crew donated £1,000 to the Birmingham Women and Children's Hospital in exchange for me coming and doing this podcast. So everybody wins, right? So on behalf of the sick children and women of Birmingham, I thank you, and thank you from me as well for making the donation. Anyway, let's do some talking.
No, thank you. It's always an honor to give back. Even we all our work is about giving back, but it's always an honor to give back in a different way. So really, really honored to be part of that. And also thank you so much for giving your time as well to talk to me. And
Anytime.
I feel like I'm sat in front of a king.
Don't do that. Don't do that to me.
Sorry, I'm not trying to make it awkward, but you know what I mean. Okay, so can you tell me what's the one thing that you love the most about being Noel? And what makes you distinct?
God, that's a really awkward question to ask, Oyin. You know that thing about they say like you're the mean average of the people you spend most of your time around.
Yes.
I think I'm really, really fortunate when it comes to being me. I am so proud of the people that I spend most of my time around. You know, the people say like, show me your friends and I'll show you you. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
You could pick any one of my friends, any one of my colleagues that I spend a lot of time with, I hang out with, and I'm more than happy for that person, for me to be judged based on that person. Do you know what I'm saying? I think over the years I've got good at sort of drawing close to people who are valuable and truly sort of care about me and want to better me and stuff like that, and will be honest with me and tell me when I'm being a dick and stuff like that. And I've done a good job of separating probably from people who aren't on the similar sort of vibe to me, if that makes sense. So I'm very, very happy with the people I have in my life. That's the coolest thing about it.
Okay, so you've literally reverted to other people. Now let's talk about Noel again.
Okay.
What is the best thing about Noel?
A thing that other people have said to me before is that I am very much myself, right? And I think this is a question that comes up when you talk about D&I a lot, right? How much of your authentic self do you bring to the workplace?
Yes.
Now, I make no mistake in knowing that I'm extremely privileged for lots of different reasons, right? But people have said about me, Vanessa, who works really closely with us at GymShark on D&I, she said I'm one of the only people she knows who brings 100% of their true self to work. And I think I do that in a lot of areas of my life. Like my friends have seen me with my grandmother before, and I talk exactly like this. I'm just as brummy, just as fast speaking. I still swear, all that kind of stuff. So many of my friends, when they're around their grandparents, hello, Nan, are you okay? And do all this. Me and my Nan banter each other to death, but I give it out to my nan and she gives it back to me the exact same way. So I think I'm good at being quite genuine and being the same person in any situation that I'm in, right from the boardroom to being with my friends to being with my grandmother. There's only one volume knob, really, and obviously that can also be really agitating for people at times, but yeah, it is what it is.
Do you know what? I love that so much because here at Neo we really passionate about ensuring that everyone brings their whole authentic self to work. So here we'll eat jollof rice. Here you can come to work to eat jollof rice and chicken. You can eat swallow. You can come to work doing, being that, and not in many workplaces can you do that. And so we're all about championing that, within our organization, and also in just encouraging a lot of our students who go through our boot camp. So right now we have about 200 students going through various types of boot camps. Right now, as I'm speaking, some people are in class right now. But oftentimes, people don't have the confidence to be able to thrive and go to the workplace and just to be themselves. And the fact that you are someone in a massive organization like GymShark in such an influential position, and you are essentially championing that is awesome to see. You spoke about D&I and diversity and inclusion. It's a sexy topic, but you know what? As someone who runs an organization who happens to be very D&I focused, I get really fed up, if I'm being honest with you, about how sexy the topic is and how much people actually genuinely want to do something about, the kind of gaps that we see in society. And these gaps don't have to be social conversations only. In fact, it's incredibly commercial and it's incredibly bottom line focused too. So I'm not going to rant too much in and around that.
No, I was enjoying it, man. I was enjoying
it. I could preach for a while. I mean, last week I was on the Women in Tech. I was in Women in Tech Global Festival, and I was talking about, why is it that, I was talking about actually how do we, raise up the next tech majority. We talk about ethnic minorities. We say Black people are ethnic minorities, but actually we're the majority in the world. When you really think about it in that way, we see it in this this UK bubble, but actually globally, when you think about it, we are actually the majority in the world. The fact that you were speaking to me earlier on about doing a collaboration with Burna Boy and the hits that you got on that just shows you that there's something about engaging with diverse cultures, and specifically with the Black culture, if we're going to be very real. But yeah, I'm going to actually steer it a bit more. Let's talk a bit about that Burna Boy activation. Actually, I want to hear more about it.
Well, I was talking from a personal lens a minute ago, and you and me were talking about it. But I was saying that when I used to listen to like the bands back in the day, you had to go to.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
What's your favorite Debate tune, please?
I don't know, to be honest. You know what? I'm not amazing with like finding it on my iPod, because my best friend growing up was from Lagos, right? And like he would do some Afrobeats DJ stuff. So like he was always like running the decks, and I was just there enjoying it and eating jollof, to be honest, but very, very mild jollof because I couldn't deal with the spicy one. But like Don't Dull was always like the talking the hardest of the Afrobeat scene. You know what I'm saying? That was the one that when Don't Dull came on, your glasses going in the air and the whole thing's going off. Do you know what I'm saying? So yeah, big shout out to DMO for my early African education. But you mentioned something a minute ago which made me think. And I will put it back to the Burna Boy thing. Velma, who used to work here as our partnerships manager, and then she left me, the little minx, and now she's on to Soho House, right, to be the director of partnerships down there. And Soho House to me was like, I love the Soho House brand, but it was very like upper middle class, and it had an idea of a very particular way, right? I now see that the Soho House events, they're serving jollof everywhere, right? Which again is wild to me, because I only used to get that from like my friends' moms' barbecues and stuff like that, and whatever else, right? So the fact that Soho House all over London are serving jollof, I think is a real sign of the times. Do you know what I'm saying? But yeah, the point we're making about Burna Boy, GymShark actually did something with Burna Boy where when his Kilometer tune came along, we collabed on on TikTok, everybody's like synchronizing what they're doing with music, right? Whether it's like a dance thing or whatever else. So we did like a workout. We had to work out to Burna Boy's new tune. And the hashtag was burn a kilometer or burn a kilometer. So you can see how we sort of mix that up to make it a fitness thing. When we at the start of that campaign, we checked how many uses that hashtag had, and it was 100. I checked the other day, and it was at 74 million across Instagram, Reels, and TikTok. Right. So, like you said, it isn't just D&I isn't just a box ticking exercise. If you want to authentically turn up in UK culture at the minute, you can't not have a conversation around African culture. Do you know what I'm saying? Because it's affecting and benefiting UK culture so much. We were saying at the start, it's so weird to hear Afrobeats inspired music or straight up Afrobeats music in the middle of the day on Radio 1, because you used to have to go to a very specific nightclub for that, right? But now it's popping, man. So yeah, if you want to connect on a UK cultural level, you better start taking it seriously.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, do you know what? It's beyond the music. I think it's also in the production of the things that actually make our lives work today. I mean, here at Neo, we're really passionate about getting as many Black women as possible into tech, because we want them to be producers of technology. And so for us, one of the things that we speak to potential partners about is, okay, cool. all right, let's talk. You guys can talk about the music, but
Mhm.
actually, it's really important for you to include Black women in the decision making process of the creation of and the production of technology, the creation and the production of of the main things that actually make the your brand work the way it works there. I mean, without the clothes, there'll be no GymShark, right? So you know, without the fitness wear, there will be no GymShark. Maybe they would. Maybe GymShark could be a drink tomorrow, and like you don't know, and it could be so strong. Um, and so yeah, I'm just really really kind of passionate about kind of seeing us being included
Mhm.
in every single type of industry. Obviously, music is really key, and technology is really key because it's like less than 1% of the tech industry is made up of Black women. It could be more. Well, it definitely needs to be more. But yeah, thanks for that. Thanks
It's
for
all
that
good, man.
answer.
I think on that topic as well, like people find this really strange when people ask me who like my business idols are. I have three that I talk about a lot, and they're all females, right? That
Oh no.
for whatever reason they just are. I don't know. It's just coincidence how it's turned out. But that is Angela Ardent, who was the CEO of Burberry, right? Sheryl
Mm,
Sandberg at Facebook, and Bazoma St. John, right? And if you know anything about Bazoma, like the first time I ever met her, she was first of all, she was a black woman in the boardroom, which is obviously super
mm,
inspiring across, you know what I mean, in general. But she was also like so unapologetically black. She came in
mm,
fully representing the culture, right? She wasn't
mm,
dressing in any kind of certain way. Like she came out like proud and like, do you know what I mean? Like she was just so pro Ghana and pushed that in
mm,
everything she did. And I thought, damn, that's so inspiring to see because like I'm a white male, right? There's been a million of me in the boardroom. So no offense,
mm,
Noel, but it isn't that impressive that you got a fancy job title, right? But
mm,
Bo's being a Ghanaian woman who's screaming Ghana from the rooftops and trying to put
mm.
Ghana on and still be and now she's the CMO of Netflix. Like that is
Wow.
like
So
next level stuff. Do you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, I take your point, man, for sure. I think yeah, it's easy to think you've played your part just through music because or sports, but you're right. There's a lot of support and inclusion needed in the background to make sure that the right people are in the right rooms, involved in the right conversations.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's really great to see those role models that you've kind of shared. And for those that are listening, please go and look those names up. If you don't know them already, I mean, where have you been? But like go and look at them and just do some research about what they've done to achieve what they've achieved as well. But I think it's not just about one of the things I'm really careful of is tokenism. It's not just about the token black woman in the
Yeah.
boardroom. It's actually about fair, inclusion. As I said earlier on, we're not the minority; we're actually the majority when you actually look at the stats. But enough about DNI. I feel like
Yeah. So
I talk about DNI a lot. Um, so yeah, enough about that. So let us speak about you again. So if you cast your mind back to you 3 to 5 years ago, can you tell us a bit about where you were? What's your story? Yeah, where were you in comparison to now? Yeah.
well, pretty much the same. Really, 3 to 5 years ago, I was still at GymShark,
Yeah,
albeit it wasn't the GymShark that you know today, right?
yeah.
This is a little startup office in Redditch, if anybody knows where that is. There was, I want to say, 40 of us, something like that, and it truly was a startup. It was a tiny little thing, everyone hustling, everyone doing like everybody had job titles, but they did every job in the business at one point. Do you know what I mean? Because everyone was
Mhm.
doing what they could. So my first ever job title at GymShark was creative director, and my team was 3 people. And then obviously fast forward to today, the team's like 200 plus, and the job title
Wow.
is chief brand officer, and it's across like two continents as well. We're in obviously UK where we're headquartered, and Denver, Colorado in the States. To take it back a little bit further, I originally sort of came up in music, which is why I reference music so often. And
Yeah.
I learned a lot of what I know about marketing now from the music industry because the way they market through culture and through like hijack marketing, they jump on the back of moments and they have these viral things. Like I got obsessed with that and I thought it was just so interesting. So that understanding of culture and what moves culture and what shapes culture is what kind of led me into marketing through music, and then sort of led me here today. So yeah, life looks a lot different to what it did a few years ago, but my interests are exactly the same. The principles are exactly the same. It's just it's like it's almost like when you go to like Las Vegas, right? You've got the poker table and you're playing for $3. It's the same game as the guys who are playing for $30,000 are playing. Just the stakes are different. Do you know what I mean? And it feels like the same kind of thing now. The stakes are higher, the budgets are bigger, there's more people involved in the decisions, you know what I'm saying, and so on and so forth. But this is the same game that we've been playing for a little while, and it's just all about lateral thinking, community first mindset. How can we, constantly listen to our customer and use them to help us shape what they want this brand to be. I've been quoted a million times, and I will always stay true to this, as saying, we're not good marketeers, we're good listeners. There's a difference, right? So I think too many people, they start their company, their brand, whatever else, and they want to grab their megaphone and scream about all the things that they are. But like, I think what we're better at is actually not talking and just listening. And if you do that, you find that marketing kind of becomes quite easy. Because marketing kind of becomes quite easy because all you got to do is listen, man. You can't go too far wrong.
I love that. Less talking, more listening. I think, and also that's what makes GymShark a leader in the space, because you listen a lot more. Most people just want you to affirm what it is that they're feeling. People want to feel more confident, and are you listening to how they say they want to feel more confident? And is your brand actually responding to that? You literally just gave like a tip on how to be a disruptive brand, right?
There you go. There you go.
So I think if you're not caught it, please catch it, write down, and have a think about that. Oftentimes many people, if you've heard about the GymShark story through the founder Ben Francis, go and check out his YouTube channel. You would have heard a lot about how it all started, and it all started very, humbly, in his dad's garage, I believe. And now look at where it is right now. So it is very much possible to grow and bootstrap your business from zero to here. Now, can you explain a little bit more about the kind of transitions? I mean, I'm really curious personally, from a personal perspective. I'm a CEO and founder. We've got a team of 15 people, which is nowhere near like 200 people. And
no, but you should still be super proud of that, man. Going from 0 to 50 people, that's wild, man. Claps.
Thanks. So it's really, really like exciting that we're in this phase. But one of the things that literally keeps me up at night is we have plans to go from 15 to 50 in the next year. Like that's kind of the growth span. And I'm very scared about that. So how have you been able to manage a team of 3? You mentioned 3 to 5 years ago, which is not that long ago, to a team of 200.
Yeah. Well, so the first thing I'd say is like the goal was never to employ loads of staff, right?
No.
Our goal was our goal and our mission, our purpose is to unite the conditioning community, right? That's our thing. When you think about some of the great brands that have come before us, Red Bull's purpose was to give people wings, right? It's got nothing to do with an energy drink. They had a purpose, right? Amazon's was to be the most customer-centric company in the world. Remember, they used to be a bookshop. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And now they do all the crazy things that Amazon do. So we've just been obsessed with purpose, right? And we've chased that. And it just so happened that the way to get there was more staff, and there was more revenue that came with that, and so on and so forth, right? So all those things are kind of a happy byproduct. But when it comes to actually the management of those people, and by the way, this isn't my wisdom. I've learned from much smarter people than me. It's about like, what's your bench strength, right? So I have, for all those people, I only have 7 direct reports, right?
Okay.
And I like to think, and they might say different, but I like to think that I have a really good relationship with those guys, right? I know them intimately. I know what makes them tick. I know where they're good. I know where they're bad. I can sense it when they walk in the room and they've had an argument the night before with their partner, right?
I love that.
Yeah, man. And it's just having great relationships with them, and then them using that same ideology going down pretty soon,
Really good.
Callum, my right hand man when it comes to partnerships, he's got Steph, Clem, and Soph, and I know he has that relationship with them, and I know they have that relationship with their guys. And before you know it, like, it's just a super tight knit team, but you're never really having to juggle too many plates at once. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, that's something I learned off people sort of earlier in my career, and I've just tried to ensure that I know those guys intimately, and I know that like, it's almost like, to give like a wartime analogy, I've been in the trenches with my reports, right? I've looked at my right shoulder and they're right there behind me, ready to back it. You know what I'm saying? And I know they have that same relationship with theirs, and if you can get that flowing all the way down, you've got a strong team, man, no matter how big it is.
I love that. I mean, this is something that we talk about in our team. That that 5 levels of leadership. I'm very much, process type of woman. If you know John Maxwell, for those who are listening, John Maxwell writes books on leadership, and what Noel's talking about here is actually I think the third or the fourth level of leadership that he speaks about, which is about relationship building. It's no longer about transactions, no longer about do the task. Now it's actually about I have a relationship with you. So actually, what happens is that there's an acceleration of them actually doing the task, and they want to do the task because there's an investment between both of you, and you genuinely care, and there's that empathy between both of you. And so that's really interesting that you've been able to scale a team, obviously for the right reasons. We don't just scale teams for scaling teams purposes. But you've been able to scale a team on the right purposes by actually connecting to people, by building authentic relationships with people. And I find that really, really inspiring. And for you to be able to continue to do that is also very, very inspiring. And for that to kind of have a multiplier effect, even to the lowest team of the lowest team, even though we don't like to say it that way, is also really, really, really cool.
And guess what, right? If you're, unless you're the CEO and founder, I mean your seat or Ben's seat or whatever else, which can be a place to be at times, it also means that you have to be that person as well. So that when Ben's struggling with something and he looks over his right shoulder, Noel stood right there ready to back it. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's a real give and take thing, and you have to make sure that you can play that part really, really well.
I love that. I mean, I think that authenticity in leadership is really, really key. I mean, I'm sure Ben wouldn't mind me saying this, but I remember I was watching one of his videos on YouTube, and you were there, and you were like, Ben, come on. And I think you were interviewing him, and you were like, I love the fact that you're bringing out Ben more. I don't know if you remember saying this.
Yeah, no, I do remember that. Listen, I still banter about that to this day because the guy he is on YouTube, he's obsessed with being like really clean cut and saying things very specifically, but he's a lot more light-hearted than that. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I've even seen comments on YouTube of guys being like, damn, does this guy ever smile? Do you know what I mean? So whenever me and him do like one of these style things, I like to just try and tweak out a touch more of his personality. Do you know what I mean? And I remember saying in that video, James, who edits Ben's videos for him, I remember literally saying on the video, James, do not cut that bit out. Make sure that stays in, because I'm going to prove that the Tin Man has a heart. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, which is awesome because people want to connect to your heart. People like there's a saying that people connect to your heart first before they connect with your hand. Yes, he might be great at what he does hand-wise, but they want to actually see, does this person have the right heart? Can I trust this person? You can be the greatest CEO, be a billion-dollar company, but actually the sustainability of how much you can engage with people comes with how great a heart you have. As well. So it's really awesome. I can just sense it even by the way you're talking to me, that it's so much of a culture in GymShark as an organization. So yeah, awesome. Thank you. That was a really nice segment and chat. But on to my next question. What were the things that you've done in your life that has dramatically changed your life outcomes? So what are the habits that you have, the practices, the beliefs that you have?
I feel like a turning point for me, and I feel like people are shocked to talk about this. Therapy is absolutely game changing, and if you haven't been, you need to. I feel like in the States, right? Obviously, I've done a lot of traveling over to the States and got quite used to sort of life out there. People talk about their therapies like they talk about their dentist. It's just a thing that they do, right? Everybody does it, and it's completely normal. In the UK, I feel like there's this weird stigma, like, what are you going to therapy for, you weirdo? Do you know what I'm saying? And people assume there's something wrong with you. Listen, I walked into therapy because it was a thing we did through work, thinking, I don't need this, man. I'm tough, I'm resilient, man. I've got an immigrant mentality, like I can pull my socks up and just get it done. Do you know what I'm saying? And I thought that I don't know, I didn't need that because I was tough somehow, right? When I tell you, this guy, Jeffrey, who's a genius, one of the most impressive people I've ever met, reduced me from thinking I was the tough guy when I walked in there to 2 hours later, had my head in my hands, tears in my eyes, realizing things about myself, which I didn't know. Do you know what I'm saying? Because I'd packed it away. But the second he made me aware of it, then I got over it and then could think, okay, cool. Now, how do I address this problem? How do I, rather than hiding from this thing, get it in a headlock and attack it? Do you know what I'm saying? To make sure that I wasn't beholden to it. That was like a true turning point in my life. That was probably only 3, maybe 4 years ago. So I'm still reaping the benefits from that now. I'm still in the honeymoon period of that now. Yes, but I feel like I feel like I'm much more of a well-balanced individual thanks to that. And again, I don't think that I don't think it's the kind of thing that you just solve like that. I think it's like a pendulum. I'll get better at it, and it'll swing the other way, and something else will go wrong, and I need to just have that person try and balance me out and make me reframe things, you know. So I think in my adult life, that's probably sort of a real turning point moment that's enabled me to just, you know, do better, be better, and, you know, be the nice young man that sits in front of you today. Are you?
That's awesome. I mean, I literally came from a therapy session.
Oh, no way! You're fresh out.
Literally fresh out.
No way.
And today's therapy session was about: are you going to accept the power that you have? That was literally the summary of my therapy session. And I think if you don't go, even if you don't feel like, you know, people think, oh yeah, you need to go to therapy if you're really struggling mentally, like, you know, you have a mental health illness or whatever. But actually, everyday people, everyday things need, you know, you need therapy for the things that life brings to you. And it also helps with freedom. You know, oftentimes, from what I'm hearing from you, it's kind of like you had more freedom to be, freedom to be the best Noel that Noel could be. So therapy just brings that freedom, that it gives you that kind of like, I don't actually care about what people think, you know, of me, if it doesn't add to my bottom lines. First of all, it also helps you to forgive, you know. It helps you to understand how to, you know, work with people, deal with human beings. It helps you to be you know, the best businesswoman as possible, you know, that you could be. Oftentimes we have this picture of, okay, I'm a good businesswoman because I can do X, Y, and Z, but actually it's about, you know, being a well-rounded human being. So I love that. I love the fact that therapy was that turning point, you know, because I'm a Christian. So there's a scripture in the Bible that speaks about you will prosper if your soul prospers. So it's really important that it's not just about actually how can I climb up the ladder, you know, in my career, how can I build the best tech business, but actually it's about, you know, actually how can I prosper? Because oftentimes what you may be desiring may not be actually what, you know, what is in your being. So yeah, I love it. Okay, there's this conversation. This just comes to my mind. Is this kind of conversation that I always have with people in my community and even staff members as well. I have people in my team who dream to do great things. People who want to run their own businesses. But one thing I've noticed about GymShark is that there's people really owning it in their own spaces, in their own like areas in the team. Do you have any desires at all to run your own business, or are you very much content with where you're at as a company? And how have you been able to still be disruptive as a leader in another vision?
Damn, you asked about 7 deep questions there in one question. I'll try and keep it moving. So I joined GymShark at how old was I? Hold on a minute. 25, something. I was about 25 years old. Up until that point,
you joined GymShark when I literally I'm 25 right now. So
oh no way, pick up yourself. So 25, and before that, I'd never had like a job. Right, I'd always own my own business, work for myself, whatever else.
Wow,
so
interesting.
I've been there, and I have to say, like, I know it looks glamorous on the business cards, and it looks popping on LinkedIn when you can put CEO and whatever else. That is a lonely place, man, like a truly lonely place. And I think people assume, okay, so on Instagram, it's so cool to call yourself the CEO. So cool, right? Everyone's the CEO of everything on Instagram, right? But when you've spent some time around some actual CEOs and you take away the glamour of the job title and just look at what it is they have to do, I look across at that when it was Steve, our previous CEO's job, and now it's Ben's, and I can hand on heart say I don't want to be a CEO. I think people assume that like that's the next step from any other C position or whatever else. That's not in my skill set. It's just not, and it wouldn't make me happy. So I think what I say to people is like, do you really want that, or do you want that because someone made it look like it was popping on Instagram? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, go and hang out with some CEOs, look at the pressures they're under, right, and and then come away afterwards and tell me, yes, I want to do that. Do you know what I mean? Because again, like there was probably a point when I was young and naive when I'd think to myself, yeah, Noel Mack CEO sounds cool, right? And now I've met a few, hung out with a few, worked with loads of great ones, and gone, you know what? I'm not cut out for that job. I feel like I will be a CMO or a chief brand officer for the rest of my days because I want to do the thing. I want to do the thing that makes me happy every single day, and that's what I do right now. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I have to get better at things that I care less about to do that job. So why would I want to do that? You know, this is what
I
gives me
love it.
purpose, man. This is the thing that when it's 1 a.m, keeps me working hard. This is the thing that makes me spring out of bed in the morning, and the reason that this never feels like work. I think if I swap jobs with Ben tomorrow, if you went, mate, swap with me, I want to be chief brand officer, you'll be the CEO. I think I would start to enjoy my day to day less, and who wants that, you know?
That's interesting. I think this is where it goes back to that. You will prosper as your soul prospers, because you have to know what you're called. It's almost what's your calling, and are you able to walk in that calling? Are you able to? Do you have the capacity to walk in that? I like to say to people, you want to be a CEO. Are you ready to pay the salaries and the payroll cost of how big the dream that you say you have is? So, for example, in the case of GymShark, I'm not sure how many employees in total now, but imagine having to have the salaries of thousands of people on your shoulders. It's a different ball game.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a totally different ball game. People don't see it when you have the CEO title, but actually you have to pay HMRC tax. You don't see it when you have to manage your VAT return. You don't see when you have to manage all the spreadsheets, and all of the people pressure that comes with that. And this is not to deter people who feel like they have that capacity, but it's also kind of to sober us up, because oftentimes it's very, very glamorous to call yourself a CEO of something, but actually most people you need to go down to understand actually what is it that makes me thrive. If I like the creative process, right? Maybe I'm just a great person in creativity. I should just be a creative director. If I love content, can I be a content officer for a vision that already exists? And when I have conversations with people who really want to kind of come and work at Neo, for example, and they're like, oh yeah, I want to work at Neo because it's going to teach me of how to run my business soon. I'm like, cool, that's great. In fact, you're welcome. But I want to make you understand that sometimes it's actually just better to submit your ideas, your visions into something that kind of already works. And I love how that dynamically looks like. It works from the outside in anyway at GymShark, and I think it's great. And I actually didn't know that you ran your own business. So what were the lessons that you actually learned in running your own business in the past?
I think like financial understanding. I think I got a very, very thrown in the deep end understanding of finances, because like you said, when you can't afford to pay salaries and you're getting cash out at the cash point on your credit card, and you eat last when you're the founder or the CEO or whatever else, you better learn quick. Do you know what I'm saying? So I feel like I got quite a quick education in finance doing that. I think, what else? I think I understood the power of, or the power in doing something for the long term, right? So there's a quote, right, which is like, a society grows great when men plant trees, the shade of which they will never sit in, right? Now, I don't particularly agree with them just sticking it on men. It should be men and women, but whatever. But that idea that even in those early days when you are working for that bad client, or you're doing stuff and you're way over on the hours you should have worked on, and now you're basically working for minimum wage, maybe less, and it feels terrible in the moment. It's all part of this bigger mission, right? You're planting seeds for things that will pay off down the road, and if you just keep good energy about you, I believe you're meant to get the things that are coming to you, right? Like, it will get there. You just have to trust it. And I think it taught me that. But then again, going back to what we just talked about, it also taught me that there was parts of the business which I just didn't want to do, and I just loathed it, and I thought, I'm not interested in that. When you and me hang out, right, and we start talking marketing and brand, you will trust me, you see the fire in my eyes when I talk about it, right? I get excited, I start grabbing your wrist as you and me, oh, how great would that be, and all that kind of stuff. I didn't do that in the whole business owner thing, right? There was bits which I loved like that, and there was other bits which I was like, oh my god, and I put it off until the 11th hour, and I hated my accountant because I felt like he worked for HMRC, not me, right? And there was all these things, and
oh, don't we hate that? Oh,
yeah,
my
man,
gosh.
the poor guy. Anyway, I think again, it also just taught me that, you know what, no, you might not be that guy, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, right? You might just be just really good at marketing and brand. And actually, you don't need to be the CEO guy, you don't need to be the owner, the founder, all those things that come with it. And yeah, like I say, I'll sit here today not being that guy, and I'm super, super happy with it. And like I said, plenty of times where I've looked at some of the nice things Ben has or some of the articles in the paper and go, wow, wouldn't that be cool? And trust me, and Ben would tell you this, and he wouldn't mind me telling it you, there's plenty of times where I've looked at Ben and gone, bro, would not want to be you right now with what you're dealing with. Do you know what I mean? But some people are cut out for that, some people aren't. And I think, yeah, the glamorization, if you want to call it that, on social media of CEO, I think work with a few, understand what they do, and you might feel a little bit different. So that's what it taught me.
I think it's so interesting that you literally just said that. And there's a lot of things I could unpack. I would love to have a conversation with you about marketing and brand. I'm sure that you would be able to like inspire me crazily in a lot of things. But one of the things that you mentioned just now about, okay, sometimes we don't see that glamour. It shows you that actually you have to be built. I have this conversation with our chief operations officer, and she thinks, oh yeah, entrepreneurship or business ownership or foundership, if you like to say, can be taught. I personally think you've got to be built, as in it's got to be in your bones. You've got to have it in your bones to be able to withstand some of the things that being a CEO takes. You've got to have it in your bones to have that energy of you being passionate about marketing. So oftentimes it goes down to what is it that I'm actually here for, on this earth for. I don't mind to go so deep, but guys, if you listen to this podcast enough, I get deep all the time. But it's actually about what is it am I actually made for? What on earth am I here for? What am I here to fulfill? And actually, at therapy today, my therapist was really challenging me about, I still struggle, we're transparent here, I still struggle to understand the power that I actually exude in a room sometimes. I struggle with it, if I'm being honest with you. I get confused about why people, think I'm so powerful. And then he made me cast my mind back to, the fact that when I was in secondary school, this is the things that I achieved and all of these things. I used to work at a FTSE 500 company just as an intern, but I was one of the most inspirational women. And all these things are glamorous, but all of these things are data points to make me understand, actually, this is a path to what I'm made for. Now, I'm a CEO right now and founder right now, but I could be somebody else tomorrow. I could be a different role. It's really important for us to not get married to a role, but actually to seek to do the best that we can do in our space and to literally live life authentically and actually live life with what we truly feel like we're called to. Walk in your calling, walk in your mandate, essentially. So yeah, I love that. I could for a while. My next question, I know we've got just a few more minutes left. My next question to you is that, do you feel like you're successful? If yes, why? If no, why not?
So I have beef with that word, right? Because I feel like I'm being I'm being very sort of I don't even know. I feel like I'm probably, if you came here for like inspirational chat about C-suite, work 25 hours a day, 8 days a week, you've probably come to the wrong place. But the word successful, I think too many people, if success is a pie chart, I think a lot of people think of success as like 50% salary, 50% job title, right? And like, I got to a place where I thought I would feel successful and went, oh damn, this doesn't feel that successful, right? I think that as you grow older and as you get some of the things that you wanted earlier in your life, you realize that success is a much more well-rounded thing. It's your relationship with your family. It's how much free time do you get to spend just doing things that, make the fire in your eyes light up. And your job title and your salary and all those things is in there. But how good's your relationship with your partner? Do you have kids? Have you raised them? Do you have a good relationship with your kids? So on and so forth, right? Because again, loads of people have made it to the boardroom and have made loads of money and all that kind of stuff. But have they held on a great relationship with their partner at the same time? Have they done a great job of raising their kids at the same time? And do they truly say they've spent enough time with them? Those are the guys that I'm chasing, right? Those are the people who I think, now you've cracked it. Do you know what I'm saying? Going back to Bose again, right? Yeah, you got to the boardroom, but did you get to scream about Ghana the way you wanted to because you wanted to increase that representation, right? Did you want to put on for single moms in the workplace? Like people who've done got the job title, got the money, and got all those things as are the really successful people. And I'm definitely still on that journey, right? So I have a fancy job title, but there's a lot of stuff that I'm definitely still chasing. So no, as yet, if you put in a gun to my head, I'm saying I'm not successful yet, but I know I will be. I'll definitely get there.
So what do you think you need to do to get to that point?
This is getting deep now. I think relationships I need to get better at. I think being honest with myself, about where I'm bad, where I'm feeling unfulfilled, I need to be better at. And you know what? I think a little while ago, philanthropy was almost something that I knew I wanted to be better at. Like finances are great and all, but it sort of turns to ash in your mouth at a certain point, I think. And I think there's a reason why so many entrepreneurs or successful business people turn to charity, right? I love the fact that right now I'm sitting here just having a chat with somebody who I would probably get on with anyway, right? If you and me met in a bus stop, we would probably still be having this conversation. And while we're doing this, the Women and Children's Hospital's benefiting literally from a conversation that I would have loved to have had anyway. Well, how cool is that, right? On Tuesday next week, I'm flying out to Abu Dhabi to do a keynote, which is probably like 20 minutes long, and then WizKids performing after me, right?
Oh, wow.
And they're donating a huge amount. Honestly, so big shout out to the Future World in Abu Dhabi, because those guys have donated a huge amount to Mary Stephen Hospice, which help people out with cancer in the area that I'm from. So being able to do that feels great, right? I'm going to go out. I'm going to talk about something that I absolutely love. I'm going to watch WizKid afterwards, and then Mary Stephen's Hospice are going to get a huge donation from that. You know what? Thinking about that, yes, successful. Do you know what I'm saying? Because that's cool.
That's good.
So yeah. So a little while ago, I wanted to get better at that. Now I feel like I am doing better on that front. Do you know what I'm saying? So I've made some progress in that area. I've got a few more little areas on my pie chart that I still need to get better at. When I do, I'll let you know, and we'll do this again, and we'll talk about how successful I feel.
I love that. I think, you know what, success for me is a mindset. It's literally a mindset of how you want to measure success. The mindset of literally, this is what I'm made for, and this is kind of the benchmark in and around that. So some people might be made to just be a stay-at-home mom, and then that's actually is fine, and you're successful at that. Some people are made to be world leaders, to be presidents of nations, and you are successful at that. So personally, for me, success is a mindset, and also not just a mindset, but actually, how can you do what you do and meet a quadruple bottom line? So at Neo, we have a blueprint of a quadruple bottom line. So we don't do anything until we make sure that our people are happy. We make money from it. Essentially, we do things with purpose, and we also think about the planet that we live in. So it's not just about one thing. It's not just about earning that great salary and having that fancy job title, but it's actually doing something with purpose. It's also about thinking about how you're stewarding the planet that you're in, and also it's also about actually, are you making sure that you're connecting with people and you're doing things that fulfill the lives of many people in and around you. I'm actually bored of us just having like one single focus, and by the way, when I'm talking about one single focus, I'm not talking about just profit. I'm also saying, actually, if you're focused on people, you need to think about other areas too, to understand, what makes you successful. So
that's dope. Yeah. Listen, big up Neo. That's really cool. I got lost there for a minute in the fact that this was a podcast, and I was just inspired listening to you.
Thank you, and we try our best. I mean, we could continue to push forward, but we do try. So no, thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure. My last question to you is, what's your advice to women who really have big dreams and maybe aspire to be in positions like that you're in right now? And what would be your advice? How should they navigate this world, especially Black women as well?
I mean, listen, I don't think I'm in any position to give Black women advice, right? Because I can't begin to understand. I have no lived experiences like that, and I don't have the lenses that you guys have. The only thing that served me well, and that I think I've watched Bazoma do so well, is being unapologetically you, right? And then just, if you find that doesn't work at the company you're at or whatever, then maybe that company's probably not for you, right? And if you find you're having to constantly try and boot down doors and you're constantly being met with resistance, I think just keep it moving. I think that I think being a black woman now, you have so many superpowers and so many super valuable things, like you say, from a cultural point of view, from a bottom line profit point of view, just from your opinion point of view. And if you're a business that doesn't understand that, then I don't know. I wouldn't be trying to fit in. I wouldn't be watering myself down. My friend once said something to me, which I thought was a really inspiring line, but it also made me quite sad as well. He's a black guy in business, and he said, "I use my white voice in meetings so that my kids don't have to." Right?
Right.
And I was like, "Damn, that was
My
so
goodness.
good."
Let's
Yeah,
talk
in other
about
words, like
that.
he was using his white voice to get in the door, so that then they could slowly let more people in, and that his kids could talk in patois or Yoruba or whatever else they wanted to talk when they got through the doors. I mean, but that made me really sad, and I think that I'm super proud to say that at GymShark, I think people can truly turn up, however they want to, dressing however they want to dress, talking however they want to talk, and we just appreciate the culture that they bring to the table and the different perspective that they bring to the table. And I honestly think that businesses that can do that will be supercharged. Do you know what I mean? And there's just I've just seen so many advantages to acting like that, right? Not trying to keep the status quo, keep everybody looking the same, loving the same, and acting the same. That's just not conducive to what's going to work for businesses in 2021 and beyond. Do you know what I mean? So if you're a black woman, if whatever you are, be unapologetically yourself, and find forums, find friendship groups, find businesses that are going to appreciate that and see you for the sort of the magic that you possess.
Oh, no, it's been such an amazing conversation. Honestly, we could talk for ages.
Yeah, listen, you and me are going to hang out. We're going to go and meet at a bus stop and hang out. But also,
let's
again,
do it.
you keep bigging me up as well and saying it was a privilege. But honestly, this was a really cool conversation. I really enjoyed it. I feel like I'm talking with an old friend, and we just met like 45 minutes ago. And again, I want to repeat, I'm so grateful for the donation to the Women and Children's Hospital, because those guys do amazing work. And thank you on behalf of GymShark and everybody at the hospital as well.
So thank you so much. That was Noel Mack talking to us about all things being CBO of GymShark, and also all things being me, Noel as well. So until next time, have a good evening, good afternoon, and good morning. There's no woke work today, so we are not going to be setting new homework. We know we like to keep you accountable, but actually, the only thing I want you to think about is actually, how do you be your most authentic self? And how do you bring that to the workplace? And how do you bring that, if you're running a business, how do you bring that to your business and also transfer it to your teams? Have a fantastic morning, afternoon, evening. Thank you so much. And it's Oyin. Bye.